Chosen one, be still for just a moment. Something sacred is unfolding around you. Heaven has not been silent. Since yesterday, a gentle stirring has circled your name like a prayer carried on the wind. But this is no ordinary call. It's her, the one who bore you, the one who still watches over you. She's been whispering to heaven on your behalf, through the rustle of leaves, the flicker of a candle, the hush of the night air brushing past your cheek. That was not your imagination. That was her voice, and she spoke your name. And heaven listened. So did the angels. This message comes not from man, but from the throne of the Most High. The Lord, in his mercy, has dispatched his servant, Archangel Michael, to speak what your heart has been aching to hear. If your eyes have found these words, then the heavens have parted just long enough for you to receive what was always meant for you. But you must not turn away. You've walked past too many signs, missed too many divine whispers. Not today, not this one. She begged, yes, begged that you would stay, because what she has to share could be the balm your spirit has longed for. It could bring rest to your soul, and peace where there has only been searching. And perhaps there is something you've been carrying in silence, an unfinished goodbye, a sentence you never got to say, a weight of guilt you've worn like a hidden garment. Hear this gently. Heaven is not reopening your wound to shame you. It is opening it to heal you. As it is written, he will turn the hearts of the parents to their children, and the hearts of the children to their parents. Malachi 4:6. What you're about to receive may change how you carry her memory and how you carry yourself. So lean in, let heaven speak. Before we go deeper, place a hand over your heart for one breath, just one, and let your spirit whisper, I'm listening. And now, as you step forward into this divine moment, I invite you to declare your readiness. Type Amen in the comments below as a sign of your acceptance, as a bold statement that you are open to the voice of heaven. And don't go just yet. Stay with me until the end. There is a prayer waiting for you, one that was born from a mother's love and heard by the King of Kings. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That unsettled ache deep within your spirit, like something's been out of place, not in the world around you, but in the quiet corners of your soul. You've tried to carry on, smile through the day, fulfill your responsibilities, but late at night, or when no one's watching, there it is again. That weight you can't quite name. Perhaps it's regret, a sentence you never got to finish, a truth you couldn't bring yourself to say. Or maybe it's love that never had a proper place to land. And here is the miracle. She heard you. Yes, even when your lips were silent, even when the words only formed in your thoughts. The Most High allowed her to hear every whisper carried by your spirit. Your mother did not leave this world with her love unfinished. In fact, her love has grown louder since the heavens received her. She has been granted the grace to draw near now, not in body, but in presence, in the language of the soul. This moment, this message, it is not a coincidence, it is sacred timing. A divine appointment carved out in eternity so that your heart could be reminded you were never unseen. Remember the night you lay in the dark, eyes swollen from weeping, whispering, I miss you. She was there. The shiver that ran down your spine wasn't just cold air. It was her wrapping around you like the embrace you used to know. She stood beside you in the invisible, praying over you when you couldn't pray for yourself. And she wants to speak clearly now, through the veil. You did not fail me. You were more than I ever dreamed. Every small act of love, every struggle, every time you remembered me, you were my blessing in human form. The guilt you've been carrying, she's asking you to set it down, not because it wasn't real, but because it's not yours to carry anymore. Heaven holds no grudge, only grace. There's something else, and it matters deeply. She's been watching someone near you, someone whose words may be kind, but whose presence steals your peace. You've sensed it, haven't you? That unease when they speak, that quiet warning inside you that you tried to brush off. Don't ignore it. Your mother sees clearly now what your heart only suspects. She is protecting you the way she always tried to, only now with the wisdom of heaven. You are standing on sacred ground. A threshold season is opening, and what comes next must be met with clarity, not confusion, with love, not guilt, with discernment, not fear. The light within you was never meant to be dimmed for the sake of others' comfort's sake. And here is something beautiful. She says you are closer than ever to something long buried. A wish you once made when your faith was still untouched by time is circling back. She remembered it. She repeated it in heaven. She's been doing everything she can to prepare the way for it to reach you. But you must not give up now. If you turn back, you may miss it by just a breath. This is why she asked Archangel Michael to clear the heavens and bring this to you now. Because someone else, someone unexpected, is beside her. Another soul who has watched you from beyond the veil. They've remained silent until now, but your mother asked them to speak for you. And what they have to say may shake something loose in you, something that's been waiting to be set free. Healing is coming, truth is coming, and this sacred window will not stay open forever. In the quiet light of eternity, beside the one who first held you in this life, stands a soul you never expected to see again. Someone who left this earth too soon, too suddenly. A presence you never had closure with, whose absence still flickers like unfinished prayer. And yet, here they are, shoulder to shoulder with her in the realm beyond time, watching you, not with sadness or distance, but with warmth, clarity, and a joy that can't be measured in earthly terms. They've been waiting, not in silence, but in reverence, waiting for the right moment, for your heart to be open enough to hear what's always been trying to reach you. They asked her to speak first, not out of reluctance, but because they knew her voice would soothe your ache. And now, the moment has arrived. Archangel Michael, by the command of the Almighty, parts the veil just enough for light to pass through. And in that holy silence, they step forward, not with blame, not with sorrow, but with the kind of truth that sets the soul free. You didn't fail them. Let that settle. You didn't push them away. You didn't miss some invisible test. You were not the cause of their pain, nor the reason for their leaving. What they want you to understand now, perhaps more than anything, is that you were a gift in their life, a steady light in a world that often felt dark. Even in your own confusion, you carried peace like a lantern, never realizing how much warmth it gave them. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You were that light, and they carried it with them into the next life. Now, they wish to return the favor. They want to give back what you unknowingly gave them. Peace, assurance, love without condition. But before they do, there's something urgent they want you to release. Lately, you've been at war with yourself, internally bruised by words that were never yours to carry. Some came from the world, thoughtless judgments, cruel comparisons, voices that told you you were too loud, too quiet, too different, too much, or not enough. Others came from within, from the echo chamber of unhealed wounds, and they've begun to sound convincing. But they are lies, every one of them, planted by shadows that fear your light. Michael speaks now, his voice firm, resonant with divine command. You must rebuke them. Now. Your mother's spirit trembles, not in fear, but in sorrow, for how you've spoken to yourself when no one else could hear. She says, if only they could see what I see. If only they knew how heaven sees them. You look in the mirror and name your flaws. She looks from eternity and calls you radiant. You count mistakes. She counts the moments you chose love, when it would have been easier to close your heart. You replay your failures. She remembers your faith. She calls you sacred. She calls you chosen. And she weeps, not because you've fallen short, but because you still believe you have. You have survived what many would not. There were seasons where your soul was stretched beyond what you thought you could bear. And still, you stood. Still, you woke up and offered kindness when you barely had enough for yourself. Still, you forgave. Still, you kept going. That isn't weakness. That is sacred endurance. The kind spoken of in Romans 5. We glory in our sufferings because suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. And your hope has not died. It has only been buried under the weight of survival. She says the angels wept when she spoke her next truth aloud. Tell them I never left. Tell them I'm still here. I visit their dreams, but they forget. I kissed their forehead last week while they slept. I sit beside them when the world feels too loud. I wrap their spirit in mine when grief returns like a wave. And you thought it was just memory, that faint smell of her perfume in the empty room, the sudden sting of tears at a familiar song, the strange warmth on your shoulder with no explanation. But it was her. Every time, not imagination, not coincidence, real. Heaven breathed, and this moment now. This is the moment she's been asking for, the breakthrough she's prayed for. You finally stopped just long enough to let her in. Now she asks something more. She says, write to me. Yes, actually write, not for a ritual, not for closure, but for connection. Take the words you never said, the ones you thought arrived too late, and put them on paper. Fold it gently, place it beneath your pillow. She promises to read it. This is no metaphor. This is a conversation between souls, granted by the grace of God, who still allows miracles to pass between dimensions when the heart is willing. She knows how long you felt unseen. You've walked through this world thinking no one really knows what you carry behind your smile, but she does, and God does. Psalm 56 verse 8 says, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. None of it has been lost, not a single tear. So she urges you now, cry if you need to. Don't swallow your ache, let it rise, let it pour. There's healing in the release. She says, that's how I'll hold you. That's how I'll speak, through the tears, through the letting go. And then something happened that even startled the archangel. She whispered, they think they're alone. And then she smiled. But I'm about to prove otherwise. There is something approaching your life. An alignment not crafted by chance, but by heaven. A moment, an encounter, a sign so specific it will leave no room for doubt. It will arrive within 9 days, not as reward, but as reminder that heaven sees, that heaven responds, that love is never wasted, not in this life or the next. But the final word is the most important. Tell them to forgive themselves. You've carried guilt for so long, it's hardened into identity. You've blamed yourself for timelines you couldn't control, for wounds you couldn't heal, for goodbyes you didn't see coming. But she says, you were only human, my love. And you were doing your best. She never held anything against you. So, why do you? This is where the healing begins. Right here, not in forgetting the pain, but in forgiving yourself for the way it marked you, and in letting love rewrite the ending. Now listen carefully, for this is the moment where the message shifts from the unseen realms of heaven into the dust and breath of your daily life. Divine words were never meant to remain distant echoes. They were always meant to become flesh in your choices, your rhythm, your healing. Your mother does not speak to you just to soothe your longing for her. She speaks so that you may live, not merely exist, not simply survive, but live again, slowly perhaps, quietly, but with intention. I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full, says the Lord, in John 10:10. That promise was not only for those in ancient times, it is for you, here and now, in the ashes and the afterward. So, this is what she asks, not as commandments, but as loving invitations. Not all at once, not with perfection, but with faithfulness, one day at a time. Begin each morning before the world reaches for you. Before the news, before the noise, before the demands return, sit with yourself, hand over heart, breathe deeply, once, twice, 3 times. On the first breath say quietly, I am here. On the second, I am allowed to feel. On the third, I choose peace today. This is not superstition. This is the language of presence. A way of reminding your body that it no longer needs to flee, to hide, to tense against life. You are safe to return to yourself. Throughout the day, remain honest with your emotions. Do not lock them behind your teeth or bury them beneath performance. When sadness comes, let it sit beside you, without shame. When joy rises, do not doubt it. When anger bubbles up, hold it gently, but don't let it speak for you. If you are weary, rest without guilt. Your mother is not watching to see how strong you can appear. She longs to see how tender you are willing to become. Even 5 minutes of stillness, even one moment of unguarded breath can begin to untangle grief woven into the corners of your soul. Tend to your space not as a chore, but as an offering. You don't need grand renovations, just let the light in. Open a window, clear the surface that's gathered dust and sadness. Light a single candle, not out of ritual but remembrance. I am allowed to feel safe here. I am allowed to create beauty even in sorrow. Your home is meant to be a sanctuary, not a storage room for unspoken pain. Be intentional about your boundaries. You are not obligated to stay in conversations that wound you. You do not owe access to anyone who does not honor your healing. Let silence be your ally. Let withdrawal be your prayer. Sometimes the holiest thing you can say is nothing at all. Proverbs 4:23 teaches, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Guarding is not selfish. It is sacred stewardship of your inner life. Let your body become part of your healing too. Grief is not just a shadow in the mind. It lodges itself in the bones, the muscles, the stomach, the shoulders. So walk when you can. Stretch softly. Drink water like you're blessing your own temple. Movement will not erase your pain, but it will remind your body that it still belongs to life, that you are not done, that you are still becoming. And when the old voice returns, the one that says, "I failed," or "I should have done more," catch it gently and rewrite it, not with denial, but with mercy. Say instead, "I did the best I could with what I knew," or "I loved fully, and that matters." These aren't empty affirmations. These are soul truths. Your mother wishes you had spoken to yourself long ago. She never held your mistakes against you. The Lord didn't either. Why should you? Find one small act each day that honors life. Maybe it's calling someone who makes you laugh. Maybe it's stepping outside and just noticing the sky for 60 seconds. Maybe it's lighting incense, writing a line of poetry, humming a forgotten song. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to awaken the part of you that still believes in beauty. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." That includes you. And when the day ends, before sleep finds you, speak to her. Not formally, not with rehearsed words, just honesty. Tell her how you really felt. Tell her what frightened you. Tell her where you found strength you didn't expect. She hears it all, not as a ghost, not as a dream, but as a presence carried on the breath of God, woven into the fabric of eternity. Love, after all, does not vanish. It transforms. None of these invitations are tasks to check off. They are not meant to prove anything to anyone. They are bridges, soft, sacred bridges, leading you back to the parts of yourself you thought were lost forever. Because healing is not about returning to who you were before the loss. It is about discovering who you are becoming through it. It is not a return, it is a resurrection. And resurrection is never loud. It begins in stillness, a whisper, a choice, a breath, and somewhere in that quiet, you will remember you were never broken. You were always becoming. Now listen, because this is where everything begins to change. This is where the message from heaven doesn't just reach your ears, but enters the marrow of your life. She has given Archangel Michael one final message, and when she spoke it, even the angel stepped back in reverence. Her words didn't echo, they settled, heavy and holy. She said, "Tell them to look beneath the bed, or inside the box they haven't touched in years. There's something there that still carries my energy. And when they find it, they'll know." She didn't say what it was, she didn't have to. Her smile said more than words ever could. You'll recognize it. It might be a letter you forgot you ever wrote, a photograph tucked between pages, a bracelet, a scarf, a child's drawing, a birthday card folded and worn, perhaps even a note you were too heartbroken to open at the time. What matters is not the object itself, but the presence she's been pouring into it, quietly, faithfully, for months, waiting for your soul to be ready. And now, you are. Michael says the veil is thinning further, time and eternity brushing edges. He's revealing something important about the next 3 days. Something sacred unfolding just beyond what your eyes can see. Heaven is moving on your behalf, not in secret, but in sacred alignment. There is something coming to you that no one else around you was meant to touch. It carries your name. Your spiritual fingerprint is sealed on it. But, and listen closely, not everyone will celebrate it. Your mother has seen what you felt but couldn't name. A certain tension around someone close, smiles that feel tight, conversations that leave your spirit heavier than before. You told yourself it was just your imagination, but she says no. You felt it because it was real. Someone in your circle carries envy, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. And that light in you, the one they can't replicate, makes them uncomfortable. You've ignored your intuition before, stayed too long in rooms where your spirit shrank. Not this time. She's raising her voice now. Protect your peace. You don't need to explain your joy. You don't need to justify your blessings. You don't need to make yourself smaller to be loved. The miracle that's coming isn't small. It's big enough to change everything. And yes, it will catch even you by surprise. But it will come through her hands, wrapped in the timing of heaven. She has been interceding for this moment, and it's nearly here. But Michael offers a holy warning. Do not return to what broke you. Do not reattach yourself to what drained your spirit, or this blessing will be delayed. Your mother confirms it with all the tenderness of heaven. The moment you fully choose peace, everything changes. And then, something extraordinary. Last night she entered your room. Yes, she was there. As you slept, she came quietly, not to disturb, but to witness, to see you up close in your most unguarded form. That soft breeze near your curtain, that flicker in the light, that odd moment when your phone glitched or your heart stirred at 2:11 a.m. That wasn't coincidence. That was her. She walked beside your bed, pausing, searching for the right moment to speak into your spirit. She saw something then, not just the objects in the room, but what your soul was holding. The sadness resting in your chest like a stone, the silent tears, the way you've been showing strength in the daylight but breaking in the dark. And she said, tell them to stop hiding their pain, even from themselves. Let them cry, let them break open. In their tears, I will bathe their heart clean. Michael now opens his hand. Something radiant glows within, a spiritual scroll, alive with light. On it, your name is written, etched in divine ink. A spiritual inheritance is being released, not just a metaphor, a real inheritance. Something that has belonged to your lineage for generations. A gift that has passed through time waiting to land in your life. Restoration, opportunity, reconciliation, healing, love, abundance, even land or legacy. This is not reward for perfection, it's fulfillment of a divine promise. And your mother, she's been standing in the courts of heaven on your behalf. Not begging, declaring, believing, reminding God of what was written over you. The prayer of a righteous one is powerful and effective, says James 5:16, and she has not stopped praying. Now, something sacred is about to touch earth. But tonight is different. She is coming again. She says, at 3:17 a.m., I'll return. That's when the spiritual window opens. Whether you are awake or dreaming, she will visit. You may wake with tears in your eyes, or a warmth in your hands, or a dream so vivid it lingers long after sunrise. Do not dismiss it. That will be her, not a memory, not imagination, but her. If you wish, prepare. Place a glass of water near your bed, light a small candle, whisper her name, or simply speak from your heart. I'm ready. That's all she needs. And then, words so holy, the angels turned away in reverence. Tell them I never died, she said. I became the wind that loves them endlessly. I became the sun that kisses their face. I became the moon that guards their night. I became the silence that hugs their heart. I became eternal for them. You've never lost her. Not really. What you've been learning is how to feel her in new ways. And now, beloved soul, it's your turn to speak. Write her that letter. All of it. The anger, the guilt, the gratitude, the ache, the love. No filters, no perfection. She doesn't want performance. She wants your truth. She always did. And when you release those words into the stillness of night, something will shift. Doors will open. Pain will loosen its grip. Dreams once buried will stir. Your name will rise in places you've never entered. And your soul will remember a feeling it's been longing for without knowing it. A mother's embrace, ever present, ever near, and now everlasting. And now, child of light, the archangel lingers. His wings vast and luminous do not beat in haste, they remain still, wrapped gently around this moment, woven from prayers and promises, from the kind of love that outlives time. Your mother has entrusted him with one final message. And when she spoke it, even he, heaven's warrior, stood in quiet awe. She said, "Tell them I am proud. I always was, even in the seasons when they couldn't be proud of themselves." Her voice trembled as she continued, not with sorrow, but with the kind of love that aches with how full it is. "I never stopped loving them, not for 1 second. Not when they doubted, not when they pulled away, not even when they stopped speaking my name. There is a weight you've been carrying, silent and unspoken, a kind of spiritual guilt. It shows up in the way you over-apologize, the way you second-guess your worth, the way you wonder in your most fragile moments if you failed her, if you could have changed the ending." And she weeps at the thought, because none of it is true. She said, "Tell them, I left in peace. I left with their name in my heart and their love in my hands." She said your voice, even if it never reached her out loud, was the last one her spirit heard. She carried you across the veil, tucked into her soul. You were never late, you were never not enough, you did not fail her. And now she has only one request before this year ends. Tell them to forgive themselves. That is her deepest wish, not flowers, not rituals, not grand gestures, just your release from the false belief that you were to blame for any part of her suffering. The past cannot be rewritten. But your story with her is not over, not by a long stretch. And in heaven's mercy, she's been granted moments like these to reach you still. Then she did something holy. She called your name and wrapped it in what Michael called a spiritual mantle, a covering, a shield, a prayer with weight. She said, "Cover them, God. They're still my child. They still need protecting." And God, in his tenderness, said yes. Heaven is dispatching protection around you, not metaphorically, but tangibly. You may feel it in small things, the air in the room shifting, the sudden hush of everything, the flicker of light, or the sound of your name whispered in a dream. These are not fantasies, these are not coincidence, these are glimpses into the realm that surrounds you always, where she walks freely now, and there is something more. She says there's a photograph, one you haven't seen in years. It may be buried in a drawer, tucked in a forgotten album, hidden in a box you packed away and never opened again. She asks you to find it, hold it, look into it like it's a window, because it is. Speak to it. You don't need to know what to say. Your heart will know. And when you do, when your spirit makes contact through that photo, something sacred will respond. A warmth in your hand. A tear that falls without pain, a silence that feels like safety, that will be her vibration, unmistakable. And from that moment forward, your grief will change shape. It will no longer be a wound. It will become a strength, a flame, a presence. You will begin to remember her not only with sadness, but with power, because she has not simply departed, she has transformed. Into wind, into light, into the silence that holds you when no one else sees. And she is walking beside you into your calling. She says, they have no idea how important they are to heaven's plan. Your impact is not coming, it's already begun. You are a seed long planted for a harvest that is just now starting to rise. That's why the darkness has come at you so hard. Not because you were weak, but because you were chosen. The enemy always tries to destroy what carries divine assignment. But you were not destroyed. Your pain did not end your story. Your loss did not steal your light. You are still here, and because of that, something sacred is about to break open. Within the next 6 weeks, Michael says, a divine turning point will unfold. It may come as healing in your body, a breakthrough in your finances, an apology long overdue, a move to a safer place, a partnership destined by heaven, a letter that feels like an answer, a door you didn't even know you were knocking on. Whatever it is, it's tied to her final gift. She says, live. Not just survive, live boldly. Laugh again. Risk joy. Don't live like you're waiting to die. Live like I'm walking beside you, because I am. You are not cursed, you are not forgotten, you are not broken, you are a miracle in motion. So now, breathe, inhale gently. The air around you is not empty, it's filled with her love. That whisper you hear in your heart, that's her, singing your name like a lullaby only heaven knows. And tonight, when the noise quiets and the world falls away, speak to her. Say anything, everything. She's still listening. She never stopped. If doubt returns, if the ache resurfaces, come back to these words. Let them remind you that she is here, not in memory alone, but in spirit. Her voice lives in this message. Her essence lives in your breath. Her love, eternal. This is not the end. It never was. This is the continuation of a love that even death cannot silence. So walk forward now, slowly, bravely, fully alive.